Hi, and a very warm welcome to my new moon in Taurus video. This is the Taurus lunar cycle 2026, starting on the 16th of May. And where I am in Northern Europe, it will be around 10 p.m. And this is a very specific Taurus new moon because usually Taurus is fixed earth, slow, steady, stable, reliable. It's interested in sustainable structures and nature, accumulating resources, and it's also connected, ruled by the planet Venus, and thus connected to the feminine principle of receiving. So while all these things can be at the forefront of our minds, there are a couple of energies that come into play here that are not as slow and steady. And you might have already been feeling that on the days leading up to this new moon and throughout this last Aries lunar cycle. And you might want to think about what the past month has brought you in terms of insights, what you might be able to move forward with, and throughout this new lunar cycle in Taurus. And so while the moon, the lunation, is ruled by Venus, Venus itself is now in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Taurus, ruled by Venus. So we call this Venus being in Mercury's sign and Mercury being in Venus's sign. We call that a mutual reception, or that is called a mutual reception in astrology. So these planets are interrelated very intensely at this point. And so Venus being in Gemini is a more experimental, light, mutable air energy, very different from the Taurus energy. And it's about gathering information and how we process information in our heads. It's about quick thinking, quick dissemination of energy as well. And there might be things of duality and not being able to make decisions, or being very kind of skippy in our decisions. And so a level of uncertainty is here, very different from that steady ground holding energy. And as I said, Mercury itself, so Gemini being ruled by Mercury, and the planet Mercury itself, which is responsible for how we articulate ourselves and also how our mind is structured. So that is, of course, very individual for each of us. But the current transit that we're all influenced by is that Mercury is in Taurus. And so there might be a much slower pace, and how we communicate all things Venus. And so again, that brings us back maybe to the idea of receiving rather than spreading the energy and going out really fast. And how we communicate what we love might need to also go through our sensual experience and the body and bodily communication to process and articulate ourselves. So this is maybe one of the things that's also important for our practice this month. However, the other thing is that Mercury in the last degrees of Taurus, slow communication. So Mercury being in the last degrees, each sign has 30 degrees, and Mercury is now on 28 degrees of Taurus and will be out of that and into Gemini right after the new moon. And it will be meeting Uranus, and Uranus is already forming what we call an out of sign conjunction at 1 degree of Gemini. So Uranus is already in Gemini. So there is more of that air energy and the not knowing, the unexpected, and also maybe a necessity to really allow ourselves to be in a place of not knowing, having fewer opinions, and allowing for shifts in thinking. So, depending, of course, again on your chart and how much Gemini there is, really allow yourself to be surprised at this point, and maybe old ways and structures of thinking that have been limiting you might be able to fall away within this whole Uranus cycle, which is a long cycle. Uranus and Gemini, I don't know exactly, but it's around a decade, possibly longer. And so we have just started this journey. And from this point onwards, Uranus will also not go back into Taurus, where it was for the last previous 8 years. So things that are connected with that. So as I said, there might be frequency changes. Maybe we think and feel one way, and then all of a sudden something comes and brings us into a different way of experiencing things, particularly related to the mental plane. And so the last transit for the new moon, it's a quick one. There's also Mars conjunct Chiron. And so this is like the wounded masculine, the wounded self, Aries, yeah, so self-identity, and Mars, the masculine. So the wounded masculine self in each of us, not necessarily just in men, but might bring up things around wounds in men or in the masculine itself, and where we might be self-doubting or questioning our actions, our identity. And there's a need to reclaim our worthiness, embracing places of not knowing, places of insecurity, owning maybe both our need for adventure and freedom and for safety and being held. Allowing for mistakes and possibly really taking the time, or really being so closely connected to ourselves that we can differentiate between our intuitive knowing and an impulse action. And it's just normal as all these energies form like very intense kind of setting, which I think most of us experience both on a personal plane, but also, of course, on a collective plane. To allow ourselves to make mistakes and get lost, and possibly, if we can, take our time, respond, and release overthinking and analysis and flow with divine guidance, allowing ourselves to go with divine guidance and really not just releasing, surrendering when we're at this point of not knowing. So having said all that, I invite you to a more pranayama, breathing focus-based practice. So make sure you sit comfortably. You're very welcome to get a cushion, a pillow, a bolster, whatever you need. You can even do the sitting on chair. And yeah, let's remember the pleasure principle, allowing for satisfaction. So as we practice pranayama with a Taurus new moon in mind, be sure that you don't force yourself when something feels too much, that you slow down. So there is often the option here of practicing a breath of fire, where you pump the breath from your belly up. And if you can't do that, you just do long, deep breaths. Or also, if you're on your menstrual cycle, you feel nauseous, I mean, of course, just slow down. So see that you make it pleasurable for you, and you accept your own limitations or signs where something doesn't sit well with you. So having said all that, I'm going to get a pillow to sit on and make myself more comfortable. All right then. So Taurus being related to the neck, we're just going to start with a little neck massage. It's related to the neck in medical astrology. Um, Also to the throat chakra of expression. And then we're just going to move the arms up. Inhale. Gathering energy and bringing it into our hearts. Exhale. And doing that 2 more times. Inhale. And exhaling. And one last time. Inhaling. And exhaling. And then we're going to sound 3 arms. Take a deep exhale. Inhale for the arm. Bowing our heads to hearts. And then just set an intention for this new moon. If there is nothing specific that comes to mind, then I suggest just practicing this space of not knowing, allowing yourselves to being in a place of not knowing, and to practice receiving in that space. Take a deep inhale. And exhale. And then rubbing our palms together. And again, just tapping our neck, our throat with the hands. And we're going to move the fingertips of one hand to where the collarbones meet here in the center, in the pit of the throat, and one on the back of the neck. And just hold and breathe for a moment. Just letting your breath go naturally. And see if you can smile and think about something you're grateful for today. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. It can be just anything, like the sun. All essential pleasures that Taurus enjoys. Bringing the hands down. We're going to start with the arms like up, kind of in a V shape at a 60-degree angle. And with either the breath of fire, and if you can't do that, long, deep breaths. Take a deep inhale. Holding our arms up, keeping the pelvic floor in and up, the chin towards the chest. And again, not straining, and then just releasing our arms down and bringing the hands in front of our hearts, gently pushing our thumbs against the chest bone, the sternum, and gently pushing the palms into each other so the elbows are out, heart is lifted, shoulders sink. And just long, deep breaths here to stabilize the energy, to balance heart and mind. And again, see if you can allow yourself to smile and really sense internally something you're grateful for in your life. Acknowledging this present you're giving yourself, acknowledging the space you're making to nurture and center yourself. And then very slowly just release. And then we're going to go through a couple of practices to balance left and right brain. And we're going to start by blocking the right nostril, and just the other fingers go up like aerials. And when we finish that, we will do that on the other side. So as we block the right nostril, we are going to either practice breath of fire or long deep breathing through the left nostril, in and exhaling through the left. And the left nostril relates to the lunar principle and the mind. So it cleanses our mental level. It is cooling and calming. So let's start. And again, just see if you want to have long, deep breaths, practice that, or breath of fire. Take a deep inhale. Again, hold a breath, pull up the pelvic floor, chin slightly in, tongue to the upper palate. centering the internal gaze at the third eye. Exhale, release. And then exhaling through both nostrils for 3 rounds. Grounding through your seat, your sitting bones. And then we're going to go for the other side. So we block the left nostril with our thumb. And our right nostril stands for the sun, the vital body, the masculine principle. Cleanses our energetic body and enhances our focus and vitality. You might feel that one of your nostrils is naturally more open. And if there's any strain or difficulty, allow yourself to practice long and deep in and exhales, otherwise the breath of fire. So left thumb to the left nostril, in and exhaling through the right. Take a deep inhale. And again, just holding the breath, pelvic floor in and up. And releasing whenever you're ready, and taking 3 slow, deep, and then exhale through both nostrils. Sensing the shift in your state of mind. And then we're going to do the third one in the series is inhaling through the left nostril, exhaling through the right. And we're just going to do this. Inhale left, exhale right. So we're going to use the thumb of our right hand for the right nostril, and the ring finger of our right hand for the left nostril. With the other two, you can do as you wish. Some people like to place them on their forehead, some bring them in. So whatever works for you, just let them flow today. You just choose. Yeah, don't be too worried about it, whatever feels good right now. So just again, we're just going to block, and we're going to start slow. Inhale through the left. At the top of the inhale, I change. I block the left nostril, open right, and exhale for the right. And we just do a few rounds of that. Allowing our shoulder blades to drop and for our shoulders to line with our hips. And if you like, pick up the pace. And then exhale through the right. Finish on your exhale. And release the hand. Take a deep inhale. Hold the breath for a moment. Pelvic floor in and up. And an exhale. Just again, taking a moment to notice the shift in energy. Thinking of something you're grateful for, feeling the ground underneath you. Then just move your cushion, if you have one, away. Make sure your shins are crossed. Just grab your shins with your hands, and we're just going to allow the energy to move up and circulate a bit in the body. So inhale, we rock the pelvis forward. Exhale, we rock back. Allow to go in your own pace. This can be slow if you like. If you prefer a long, deep breath, do that. Just see that you move from the pelvis. Seven, six, inhale, pull the pelvic floor in and up, hold your breath. And exhale, releasing. Place your palms face down, and we're just going to shrug the shoulders. Inhale, up, exhale, down. And then take a deep inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, releasing. And then we're just going to roll the head in a clockwise direction. Again, just doing it in a way that works for your head. Can be very gentle. Like you can exhale through the mouth. And we're going to change directions. Wonderful. And then we're just going to finish with humming. And we're going to focus on the crown of the head. So this is also where all the stomach points meet for the stomach channels. And so Taurus is often connected to constipation, or because of its fixed nature. So also like a way to open up here. And of course, our connection to higher guidance. So we're going to finish with that. And we're going to hum, keeping the focus at the crown, at the same time being very strongly connected to the earth. Hum. 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 Place one hand again here at the throat, the other one on the neck, just sensing energy for a moment. Thinking about something you're thankful for today. And remembering what you wish to practice during this lunar cycle. And allowing yourself to make mistakes, to not know, and to receive higher guidance. Let's bring the hands together in front of our hearts. Thanking ourselves, thanking our ancestors, and also thanking our spirit guides for supporting and guiding us. And we're dedicating the merits of our practice to all beings without one exception. Namaste. I look forward to seeing you for the Gemini New Moon. Please like, subscribe, share the video with others, and join my Monday night yoga classes at 6:30 Central European Summertime. Next one will be on the Monday of Pentecost. So that is the 25th. Yes, the 25th of May, 2026. I look forward to seeing you there. Bye for now.